One of the exciting things about being in San Antonio is the incredible amount of creative projects that are happening, the incredible amount of creative reuse that happens, like we just saw with the Pearl and some others. So if there's one message I take from the panelists this morning, it's you can do it. You have done amazing things. There's a legacy of achievement here that is really quite phenomenal. And then the second thing I take is something about blurring boundaries and something about redefining the relationship between design and place and community. And it's something about the transformative power of design, but it's also about the primacy and the central importance of community. You know, traditionally in historic preservation, which I've been involved in for like 34 years, there was this idea that you have a design and you bring it back. You have integrity, as Charles mentioned. But that's not really how it is anymore, and maybe it never was. That traditional idea of preservation is based on a traditional idea of design, which is I get a wonderful inspiration and I draw something out and it built it and created it. That's not how it happens. It happens by a community, by a city, by a place. I love what Lynn said at the beginning when she said, Brackenridge Park wasn't designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, it was designed by the community. What a wonderful idea. It really was. It's a place that's defined by use as much as by hardscape and landscape. As Charles said, you know, the importance in integrity or authenticity is feeling and association. I love the fact that he name-checked me because I actually just wrote an article about focusing on feeling and association as two of the 7 aspects of integrity and preservation. And I also thought about his comment about plop and drop, because plop and drop is terrible if it's a design, if you're just throwing down garbage cans and kiosks and things like that. But isn't also the Easter camping plop and drop, but it's plop and drop that goes away and restores the integrity of the place. It's plop and drop not as a permanent decision, but as a performance or a procession. It's an authenticity of use versus an authenticity of design. I like what was said, especially about the idea of, when Lila was speaking, of a mental map, the sense that people are designing the place in their heads when they use it. When I came first to the San Antonio Conservation Society, I think in the first week I was here, Joanna Parrish, who just stepped out, came to me and said, the importance of Brackenridge Park is that it's the people's park. And it struck me that this is the modern view of historic preservation. Historic preservation used to be about this idea of design and integrity and bringing something back, or maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But today it's about process and community. And the fact, if we keep in mind that it's the people's park, that process starts to become clear. When Andreas was speaking, he talked about the importance of public process. He talked about fabulous funding mechanisms that allow for operation and maintenance over time, what we call P3s, public-private partnerships. And those are very important. But he also talked about the importance of the public process. That theme continued in Bob Harris's presentation. I love the fact that he said that it really made a difference when we went door to door and asked people and started to turn a community that was very suspicious of what was happening into one that wanted a portal into the Confluence Park. I also like the design of Confluence Park because it blurred the distinction between art and architecture. What is this thing? It's shade, it's shelter, it's concrete, it's ecological. It has a purpose, it also has a meaning. It's something that blurs the traditional boundaries. You know, a lot of the presentations we saw gave us mechanisms like public-private partnerships for development. They gave us mechanisms like public-private partnerships for ongoing funding. But the key mechanism really is this sense of community planning. How do you bring the community into the process? Because they're the ones that are going to invest of themselves. It's not just money, it's not just time, it's use, it's everything. It's human investment, which has a lot of aspects to it. When Suzanne spoke about civic engagement, and the importance of community support that comes from this planning process. Again, how do you inspire ongoing human investment in a space? There's proven community support, and then we saw the amazing spin-off from that investment. You create a wonderful place like the Pearl, like the Mission Reach. The amount of economic spin-off, quadruples, quintuples, 10 times your value originally. I think it's important, one of the lessons we want to take from Brackenridge for the Conservancy is to broaden the membership, as she said, because that will broaden the stewardship. If we get on to Christine's presentation, I thought, again, there's a wonderful creative reuse that was happening. The theme of water, very, very important in San Antonio. It is the spine that holds everything together, and it's moving and dynamic. So again, blurring a boundary. We think of a spine as something strong, but here a spine is something that is dynamic and always moving. And the transformative power of design. What has happened here at the Pearl, what has happened at the Museum and the Botanical Garden. There's an incredible transformative power of design. But what really makes that design work is that it has been incorporated with a community process. In the old days, preservation was, oh, find an original design, bring it back. Now preservation is, ask the community what's important. What do you want from the past to bring it into the future? And then you bring some professionals in who can help you make that into a design, make that into a thing, make that into a fountain in front of the Southerly. Make that into a waterfall on the side of what was once a concrete channel. So I want to leave you with the idea that I took, that there are these incredible accomplishments we've had here in San Antonio. Hemisphere, Confluence Park, the river, the Broadway corridor. We can do it, and we'll do it again. The transformative power of design, if design is done from the community up, if design is done in partnership with the community. And I think the really exciting thing about Brackenridge Park and this whole process that the Conservancy and the Cultural Landscape Foundation are leading, and what we're going to hear about today, is that we're setting the stage for a new set of cultural lifeways that will continue the story of San Antonio into the future. I'm supposed to leave the panel with some questions, so my question really is just, how do you continue to involve community in a transformative process of design? Thank you.